Hi there. So I thought it would be a fun time to show off this ridiculous base I made, because I mean, what am I doing with my time? Anyway, we're going to start the live pod here. Seems appropriate, probably where you're going to start your game. So these are the several base locations we'll be visiting, as well as this one. I'm going to turn them off for now, just so they don't get in the way. So this base was started very, very early on into early access, before hotfix 1 even, and I started here, and it is just extended and extended. It's got to the point now where it's probably, I'd put it, like, if you totaled up all the corridors, it's probably about 8 kilometers long, but most of it is just corridors, not main bases. But the reason I did this was because I noticed the function that as long as you have items in storage in a base, you can use them anywhere. So I thought, if I just make a base that covers the whole map, I always have any of the resources I need anywhere, and saves me so much time on travel, which is very good in this game because you can't run, which is I don't really know what's up with that, and also just everything in the game is so much slower. I remember getting in the tadpole for the first time and being like, yo, this thing is not quick, it drags. And then I'm thinking, I'm looking for the scout chassis everywhere. Couldn't find it for like 3 days. Turns out I just missed it in the tadpole pools. But when I found it, it barely increases the speed at all. So okay, whatever. But yeah, this is the first stop. I call this place the Quarterway House because it is a quarter of the way to my main base. And there you go. Nothing in there at the moment, but we got some nice processors. We got a tadpole back here to easily get around in this location, a scanner, just so we can see what resources we have if we need anything in this area. There is not really much I need in this area. Sometimes I come here for quartz, that could be useful. But yeah, let's exit what I'm going to call the Safe Shallows, because I cannot remember the name of the beginning location on Proteus. We're approaching sort of thermal vents and stuff now. This is where it gets kind of hard to see because everything gets a little deep. But there's a section coming up in a minute which dives down a little bit further, and we'll be getting back into the base. But yeah, I've really been enjoying Subnautica 2 so far. I think the Axum thing is really, really cool. The whole thought of Mazefield syndrome, I used to read like a lot of like creepypasta as a kid. It kind of reminds me of that, the like hearing voices calling you to something below, or like maybe something. It's very Lovecraftian, isn't it? Kind of like Eldritch. I mean, even the Collector Leviathan, you could say, was kind of, you know, based off of Cthulhu or something. And I mean, the giant clam in the game has been called by the devs Clam Thulu, so that's pretty funny. So they're obviously aware it's got some like Eldritch kind of connotations, which is cool. I'm always up for that. I like a bit of horror in this game. Got another scanner location. This is the Halfway House. We got another tadpole there with Scout Ray. Easier access. I come to this one like fairly often. There's a lot of like gold, sulfur, and stuff, and the tadpole pens are only down here. So it is a good spot to just get to like nearby sort of locations in the story, check them out. I'm sure once the game gets updated I'll need to go back and forth more often for different things, so it's good to have that all set up. Right, so this is where we're gonna head in to collector territory now. So the hardest thing about actually making this base wasn't like the length of it. Like, gathering this much titanium isn't that hard. Gathering this much quartz to make the glass is really hard. That took a long time. Luckily I got 5 out of the 5 Axum chunks that you can get, Axum bacterial chunks, so I was able to make the maximum amount of miners. 25 titanium every 2 minutes, 15 quartz every 2 minutes as well. So you can get that up pretty fast, but you got to remember you got to use 2 quartz for every glass. It's just a pain in the ass, but hey, this game is supposed to be, you know, somewhat challenging. So I like the fact that there are only 5 Axum bacterial cultures at the moment. Like, you can't just spam them and get infinite resources. So we're approaching the main base now over here. This is sort of are where I mainly locate everything, because at the moment the observatory seems to be the very center of the map, so it's kind of best to have my stuff around there. It's also got an abhorrent amount of resources, which I've pretty much used up entirely at this point, so there isn't much that I can mine here. I usually need to go further out to gather things if it's not from the mining plants. I also really like these rings. They're very convenient and cool mode of speeding yourself up a little bit. They've sort of got them set up in a circle as well, so you can come around this way towards the base very, very quickly, which is nice. I haven't seen the collector, which is interesting. So yeah, this is my main storage room. I sort of store plant things in here. Just make sure I'm all stacked up on all that. We haven't got like full chests of everything, but we've got enough resources. Yeah, I think we probably need some more Celestine though. What else? This is our gold section, silver. And I'm pretty sure all of these are quite full. Yeah. And then quartz, these are all full. And titanium. Little bit of sort of assorted storage for things that kind of get out of hand. You just got to put them somewhere, you know. Biolab, conveniently placed. We've got a scanner, which you can see there's not a lot of lead anymore. How much titanium we got left? Apparently, but I find the scanner doesn't work very well. It kind of tells you they're there, but they're not. Alright, this is a editing humanoid here. I thought I'd give an example of this, by the way. You can see it says there's a titanium there, but there is absolutely no titanium. This happens quite often. Quartz. Yeah, but most of my resources have been pretty much mined, especially silver. It's gone now. I've got my moon pool here, time of day display to let me know where it is. A load of power banks, which don't seem to be charging, and I don't seem to be making enough power. That isn't true. It's just the base is so large, it doesn't register like how much power I'm consuming properly. These are for ingots and chips and wires and stuff. I haven't got any at the moment because I spent them all putting tadpoles in every base I have. There is another section that branches off to the old cicada base that they made. I tend to build a hatch at the top and the bottom, because if you don't do that, you got to climb down the ladders, and that takes absolutely forever. Another project that I'm working on at the moment with one of my friends is we're trying to build up as high as we can. We're trying to build up to well, so far we're trying to build up to the world tree. We've only got 1 kilometer up at the moment. We need to get 1.5 kilometers up before we stop building over to the world tree. It's very hard to do that. You can do it with lockers, but we don't do that because that seems like cheating, because you're not actually using the titanium. So we build a room and a ladder and then a room on top, but unfortunately you can't construct the room on top while you're in the previous room, so you kind of need to do this weird thing where you branch out with a corridor and a hatch and then build it from the outside. But it works, it's just slow progress. I would find it interesting to know how much this base refunds for, and if I did refund it, if it would just crash the game. And I'm pretty sure it would just crash the game, but you know, there's only one way to find out. And I don't really want to delete this because I have over 100 hours on this game, and this took me a long time.
Welcome aboard.
So carrying on, down here, just had to build that hatch, that didn't go very well. This is the old Aliens Ruins base that you get directed to the first time you find the observation tower, and it is quite a nice spot to build up because it does have like a lot of resources around it that you can't get on the other side of the observation tower, mainly being enamel. You can't get enamel, and you also can't get atacamite on the other side of the observatory. So I use this little location to get those resources when I can't find any more. We got some storage, some battery banks as usual, and a biobed. For luck,
Welcome aboard.
I shall teleport us back to the ruins. Look at that, I was just making my way back. We got some deep wing brooders, I think they're called. Very good food source. Let's go inside and we can carry on down this way. So this is a long walk as well. So I'm trying to ramble through it. But the observation tower, when I first saw that thing, I was so hyped. I was like, dude, this is what I wanted Subnautica 2 to be, man. And this game did not disappoint. It's probably my favorite game that's released in many years. Maybe bar Half-Life Alyx. That was good. It was a good game. But yeah, the original Subnautica did early access right, and I'm hoping that this does early access right as well. And it did. It did. It really pulled it off. I mean, there's 12 hours of gameplay in this already, and I heard it stated by one of the developers that only 20% of the story is finished. So 20% of the story is finished. That makes a game that's like, what, 12 times 5? That's a long time. It's like 60 hours of fucking gameplay. I am very excited for some of the upcoming things in the game. I have the modded build with the dev worlds as well, and there's some interesting things you can find in those, like ferrofluids, and I think there's another thing. It's called it's some kind of other crystal, but there's other things in there designed for various purposes. The description of the ferrofluid says that it's made to be used in nanobots, which I find quite interesting. Who knows what they'll do. Here's the power plant. We have arrived. Obviously, I got it online. I thought when that thing boots up and you see the blue, I mean, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, we got two branching directions here. I wanted to have one that went to the entrance to the power plant control room, so I had easy access to that should I need it in the future. Also, I do believe that the next location of the game that's going to be added is in that direction, because you can see in some like the developer pictures, they've got that kind of area blocked out. It looks like there might be some buildings down there. I've heard some people say online that it's going to be one of the first things that you do with like the Trident submarine, which is currently in the game. It's just a very kind of bugged and not polished version at all. It looks like a cube, but it can dock 4 tadpoles, which is pretty interesting. 4 tadpoles, hell yeah. So one thing I didn't think about that somebody else suggested to me the other day was that you could have like one tadpole for different purposes. So like you could have one for like void exploration, one for like cave exploration, one that's like close to the surface, things that can go deeper, you know. You could really specify it, and especially if you're playing with friends, that could be really helpful. Anyway, I really like this little base. It gives you a very nice view of the power plant, and of course it's a good place to sort of just chill out for a while. I mean, this this thing is a behemoth. It's massive. I want to check out what this says. Oh, it just says upper generator control. Okay, nothing crazy. I shall skip back over there so we can go down the other corridor. Okay, so we're back where we were before we split off. Let's go down now. Again, much quicker to use the wake maker to get down here than it is using the ladders. The ladders do take forever. In the original Subnautica, I could have sworn that the ladders, like,
Welcome aboard.
they kind of just teleported you up. I don't know if that's because we don't have, like, room connectors at the moment, though, because we had those tubes that you could just go straight up before, but we don't currently have those in Subnautica 2. I'm sure we'll get something like that at some point. I mean, there's plenty of pieces that I'm sure we don't have in the game for buildings, plenty of power generation options. I mean, we haven't seen nuclear yet, which was in the original one, and there has been some reference to nuclear as well in Subnautica 2 so far. I can't remember where it was. I think it was something about a specific type of flora or fauna that used nuclear radiation to essentially sustain themselves instead of food. Maybe somebody, if anyone actually watches this, can leave me a comment and tell me what that was. But yeah, now we're down at the Angel Comb down here. Everything is going to get very dark. One of my few complaints with this game at the moment is it is too dark, like by a long shot. It's especially at night. At night, even at the surface, you can't see anything. Like I don't mind it so much down here because we are half a kilometer down almost. But at the surface, it doesn't really make sense, especially at night, considering that that gigantic planet is right next to us, which would be reflecting a lot of light. Maybe they could change the shade. I mean, obviously it would be darker than daytime, but maybe they could change it to like a lighter shade of pink in the night, because it would make sense for the pink light to be reflected off of the planet that's right next to us. Also, do we know the name of this planet? Because not this planet, I mean the planet that's around us, because obviously this is Proteus, but there's sort of a pink Saturn like planet that I'm assuming we're orbiting around, because it looks huge. Assuming that it is Saturn-like, it would be a gas giant, so we would essentially be a moon of the gas giant. That could also account for why the days are so short, I guess, because yeah, because you're going around. Anyway, this is the location where you get the Axum bacterial cultures and stuff. Pretty much, I'd call this end game. There's not much to do after this point other than gather resources, really. One of the issues I faced in this is it's actually much easier to construct segments than it is deconstruct them when a base is this big. It doesn't take long for me to construct something, but to get rid of something if I mess it up, the habitat builder really doesn't like it when something is this big. It's actually a much bigger issue on my other world, which I'll speak about in a second. But here's my little base that I've got going on here, just for easy access to anything that might be down here in future, or if I need some more triolite or something, it's useful to come down here. One of my complaints about this location actually is that it doesn't have a source of copper. So if you run out of copper, you have to go a really, really long way to get any copper, because you just share our luck. But yeah, I'm just going to have a little wander around while I talk about this. I have another world that has a 1 kilometer above water base. If you would like to see that, please like this video. And hell, I might post out with my friend. Might even live stream some of the process of building up to the world tree, because that's our end goal. Anyway, this base isn't done. I want to extend it to Cloud Thulu as well. Also, is the collector near me? I can hear him. Where are you, mate? No, who cares? Anyway, that's pretty much it for now. I might also make an ASMR version of this video if anyone likes that kind of thing. Which just be me more soft-spoken, sort of quiet down the game effects a lot. Maybe I'll mix some sounds in there as well. You know, could be nice. We'll see. But have a nice day, everyone.